Hello ladies and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Cyrodiil PvP basics. Now I know that PvP isn't for everybody, but a lot of the times it has to do with the fact that you don't know what you're doing in Cyrodiil. You know, it can be kind of scary if there's enemy players running around and you're caught out on your own. And it's, yeah, not knowing what you're doing, obviously, you're not going to be as excited to get into it and try it out. So I'm going to talk about, first of all, choosing a campaign, the difference between having a home and guest campaign, the map, the different kind of siege weapons, and from there we'll also talk about what else you can do other than fighting against other players, because you don't have to fight other players in here. You definitely can do other stuff. It's just a matter of avoiding everybody else if you are. But let's get started. First of all, we're gonna talk about how to choose a campaign. So to get started, you're going to push L on the keyboard, and that's going to bring up the Alliance War tab. And here you're going to see a bunch of information regarding scoring from the keeps and the resources you've taken. Next is going to be the bonuses, which is the buffs you've earned from taking those keeps and the enemy Elder Scrolls. Emperorship is the leaderboard, letting you know how close you are to being crowned Emperor. Now on the top right corner, you're going to have your campaigns tab, and here it shows you all the campaigns you have to choose from. First on the list is going to be your 14-day standard, which is Children, and this is the DC buff campaign, meaning Daggerfall Covenant owns everything, so watch out because enemies, players and NPCs are going to be pretty much everywhere. Next is going to be your non-vet campaign, Blackwater Blade, and Blackwater Blade is 5 days long, and this is pretty much where everybody that's just hit 10 can go to. And at least I recommend everyone that's just hit, level 10 to go to, get a feel for what Cyrodiil is like, learn alongside, but everybody else that's new. It's less intimidating for sure, and it feels definitely. I think it feels less serious than if you go into one of the other bigger campaigns. But following that is going to be your 30-day standards. Assure a Star is the EP buff campaign. So Ebonheart Pack ladies, that's definitely the place you want to go to if you need to finish any missions or gather any sky shards. It'll be easier to do it all right here. And next is going to be Thornblade, and Thornblade is probably the most popular one to go to. As you can see on the screen here, the population bars, they're all locked, meaning the servers are max capacity, and I believe 2,000 players is the max that are able to be on the server at once. So you have to queue up in order to get in. Queue times will definitely vary. You might only have to wait 10 minutes. You might have to wait up to an hour. It's completely from player to player basis. But Thornblade is definitely probably the most competitive one in terms of who owns what. Next is going to be your 7-day standard, and that one is Hatteras, yeah. This is going to be the AD buff campaign. So as I've said, ADs, buffs. AD, this is where you want to go to do your own stuff if your alliance is with the Aldmeri Dominion. But those are the campaigns you have to choose from, and real quick I'm going to talk about the difference between having a home campaign and a guest campaign. First of all, to pick a home or guest campaign, you're going to right click on the name of the one you want to go to, and a little pop-up thing is going to come up, and it's going to give you the two options. Now, the biggest difference between a home and guest campaign isn't that guest campaigns, you cannot earn points for the leaderboards. So if you care about becoming Emperor, you're definitely not going to want to be most active in a guest campaign. You also cannot earn any buffs that you may help your alliance earn in the guest campaign. But that being said, you can still do all the missions. You can still help take keeps, and you can still earn alliance points, which they call AP, so that you can use that to buy stuff, since in Cyrodiil you mostly are going to be using AP to buy siege weapons and repair kits and all that stuff. But that's the biggest difference in choosing a home and guest campaign. So if you care about Emperorship, definitely be more active in your home campaign, and definitely do more stuff in your home campaign. But if you don't, then pretty much set your home to whatever you want. If you don't care about the buffs that you may get from the campaign, then pretty much, yeah, again, set your home to whatever you want, set your guest to whatever you want, and go into the ones that you're just going to be most active in, honestly. That if your guild's all part of one particular campaign, then go ahead and make that your home campaign. If some of your friends are part of a different one, go ahead and set that one to your guest one. So it's totally up to you how you want to do that. One last thing, your guest campaign can be changed, but I still think it's every 2 days that you're able to change it. Your home campaign can be changed, but it's going to cost you AP. And when you try to change it, the page will pop up there and tell you how much. So it costs quite a bit. Or you can wait until the end of the month or week or whatever when the campaign ends to change it for free. So keep that in mind. Next, we have the map. Now, when you first enter Cyrodiil, you're going to enter through one of 2 gates. Each alliance has 2 gates that you are ported to. For AD, it's going to be Eastern elsewhere and Western elsewhere. For DC, it's going to be Northern and Southern High Rock. And for EP, it's going to be Northern and Southern Morrowind. When you first enter Cyrodiil, you're going to be put through basic training. And here you're going to learn the just basics of how to deploy siege weapons, how to repair them, and all that stuff. From there, you're going to be able to find the quest boards, vendors, and even banks, or a bank at least. It's only available at one of the gates, and I can't remember which one it is, but there is one here, so there's no worries about having to travel back to the PvE to empty your bags. Now, there's a total of 18 keeps. 6 keeps are owned by default by each alliance, and they call those home keeps. And you can see from the map right now, these would be the default home keeps that everyone would have. Now, surrounding these keeps are going to be resources, and there's 3 of them. The lumber mill, the farm, and the mine. And each of these have their own, I guess, bonuses that the keeps earn from you controlling them. For example, the lumber mill, it helps keeps the doors stronger and allows them to repair themselves automatically. Farms make keep guards tougher and stronger, and mines help reinforce the walls, which makes it harder to destroy. And it also helps repair themselves over time. And taking control of these resources or keeping them is very important, because it's either going to make taking a keep easier or defending it a lot easier as well. Now, there's also going to be 2 mile gates, or bridges, I guess, in each region. And from what I can tell, they don't really give any buffs per se, but they do help in fast traveling. So if you are able to take an enemy mile gate and connect it with your alliance, it's just another faster access point for your alliance to travel to. Now, each resource has a flag for you to capture. They are usually guarded by 2 high-level healers and 2 dragon knights. And if you're in a group, you should be able to take them down without any problems. Just be aware that patrolling around the flag, there are other dragon knights and healers as well, so watch out for them. And in order for you to change that flag to your alliances, you just simply have to stand on it for a short period of time. A little bar is going to pop up on the screen, and it'll show you just how fast it's changing. The more of you there are on the flag, the faster it is for it to change. Now, taking keeps is tougher for sure. In order to take a keep, you first have to take down the outer wall. Once you get that down, though, you have to also siege down the inner wall so that you can get inside of the building. Now, like I said before, if you are able to take the resources that you need to, it'll make taking down these walls a lot easier. Not that much easier, especially if you're like in a really small group and there's a lot of enemies defending, but it helps, you know, every little bit helps. But once you're inside, there's going to be 2 flags here to take, and there's going to be more enemy guards. It's definitely tougher inside. You want to definitely siege with a big group, but if you're in a small group, you're going to have to aggro, you know, juggle aggro correctly, and just, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful when taking things like that in small groups. Alright, so next it's going to be talking about traveling. Unlike in the PvE, you cannot fast travel anywhere in Cyrodiil with the map. You can't, it's impossible. You can only walk or ride your horse wherever you need to. Now, you can travel via these transitus stones, and these guys are going to let you fast travel to keeps that your alliance owns. Now, as you can see here on the map that popped up, anything that's connected to the green with your alliance means you can fast travel to it via the transitus stone, not via fast travel or anything like that. You always have to go through one of these transitus stones at one of the keeps or one of the mile gates in order to get anywhere faster. Otherwise, you have to walk or ride your horse everywhere, and that can be quite the endeavor sometimes, especially if you're like on one end of the map and there's like no keep near you in order to fast travel. And as you can see, even though some of the keeps our alliance owns, we cannot fast travel to it. It's only going to be pretty much like the inner ring and our entire section of the map that we can fast travel to. Anything on the outer ring, even though we own, we do not fast travel to it. Real quick too, while I'm on this map, I want to talk about Elder Scrolls, because you can actually see them on our side of the map. Now, most of the time, or by default anyway, each alliance has 2 in their possession. Taking enemy Elder Scrolls gives your alliance certain buffs, which you can check what those are if you go into the alliance war tab in the menu, and you can check to see also what it taking enemy keeps and holding them, what kind of buffs it gives you. But while I'm also on the subject of Elder Scrolls, I'm going to move along real quick to alliance points, since alliance points are going to be your main source of currency in Cyrodiil. You can still use gold to buy certain things, but if you definitely want to use alliance points more. You can earn those by killing enemy players or healing your allies in battle. You can also get them for attacking and defending keeps, and for doing missions off the mission board. The mission board ones are repeatable, so you can do those as many times as you want to earn AP that way. I believe killing enemy players and healing allies gives you the most AP, so doing everything is going to be the best way to earn AP around here. But moving on, we're going to start talking about the siege weapons and how to use them correctly. So let's talk siege weapons. So it's easier to have them set to your quick menu bar. Click on the one you want, and to deploy it, the ground, it has to be flat. If it's not flat, it's going to be a red circle, and until you find a flat surface for it, the circle will remain red. But once it's yellow, you can go ahead and build it like you saw right there in the video, and your weapon will be good to go. That is pretty much the only stipulation about having your siege weapon. The ground has to be flat enough for it, otherwise it will not deploy properly. So let's talk about the different types of siege weapon in each category and how to use them. So first on our list, we're going to talk about trebuchets. There are 3 different types that you can buy: stone, fire pot, and ice ball. Stone is going to deal the highest damage to buildings and to enemies as well. This is what you want to have when you're sieging keeps. It's going to help take down walls faster, and it's going to help hit enemies that are over the wall. Fire pots are going to deal great damage over time to enemies and also to siege weaponry. So if your enemies are trying to defend their keep, this would be a great time to use a fire pot and try to destroy their own siege weaponry. And the last one's going to be the fireball, or the ice ball, sorry. And the ice ball does the same thing the fire pot does, except it also helps reduce the movement speed of enemies. So I would definitely say use this one more if you are defending rather than attacking. The trebuchets have great long range, so it definitely is good for sieging from a bit of a distance to keep yourself a little bit safe. But they do have slow reload times, and they cannot shoot targets in a close range. So those are their only drawbacks. So keep that in mind when using these guys. Next, you're going to have catapults. They have also 3 different varieties that you can use: meatbag, oil, and scattershot. Meatbags deal poison damage to enemies and reduce their healing for a few seconds. Oil reduces their movement speed for a few seconds. And scattershot hits a large area, which helps detect hidden enemies. Catapults have fast reload times, and with their special effects, they're great for providing support to your attacking allies. They are less useful when you're attacking siege weapons or buildings, so definitely don't use them for that. They're not going to be much help there. Next, it's going to be ballistas. There's also 3 types of ballista. You're going to have regular, fire, and lightning. The regular ballistas shoot, just normal arrows, and they deal very high damage to buildings and to enemy siege weapons, kind of like the stone trebuchets. The fire ballista are going to do damage over time, kind of like the fire pod as well, so they'll deal high damage to your enemies and to their weaponry. The last one is the lightning ballista, and these pretty much, again, do the same thing that the fire bolts do, except they also ensnare enemies and reduce their movement speed for a few seconds. Now, all the ballista are really good at destroying siege weapons, and fire and lightning are going to do the most damage to players and weapons. And they also shoot, their reload times are a lot quicker. So they're better than the stone trebuchets in that sense. However, they do have a short range, and you can't shoot any enemies behind walls unless you place them in kind of tricky places in order to do that. But those are the only weaknesses of the ballista. You're also going to have flaming oil. This is not a ranged weapon, and it's definitely more useful for defending. You can only deploy these when you are up high, like on a ledge. Otherwise, they will not deploy if you're just on the floor. But these are really good for causing high area of effect damage, and for destroying battering rams if that is something that your enemies have. But speaking of battering rams are also something that you can deploy, but you can only use these near keep doors, and they cannot be used to attack walls or enemy players. Once it's out, it will automatically start attacking the nearest door. It'll work faster if you have more allies nearby. I think 6 is the maximum allies which you need in order to get it to its highest speed of attack. Now, all of these weapons are going to degrade over time once you deploy them. You can use your repair kits in order to extend their use, and it is possible to pack them away if you finish taking down a wall before your weapon degrades. Now, you can also redeploy said weapons that are degrading, and you will be able to see how much time, health it has remaining once you unpack it. And enemies can destroy your siege weapons, and you can also destroy their siege weapons by just walking up to it, and a prompt's going to pop up, and it'll give you the option to burn it. And that is how you get rid of enemy siege weapons as well. But those are what you have to work with. So keep in mind that you definitely want to know what to use in what situation. But that is your crash course on siege weapons. If you're ever unsure about anything, always ask, and somebody will hopefully be nice enough and let you know what it is that you should be using. So before I move on to our very last subject, I'm going to bring up something I forget that I have a lot, and that is the Alliance skill line. This is going to be useful for whatever role it is that you're playing in Cyrodiil. So if you want to play more support role, you're going to want to start getting things in the support line maxed out. If you are playing more of an assault role, you're going to want to start working on the assault. But each of these skill lines has things there that are going to be useful for whatever you're doing. For example, in the assault line, you're going to have your ult, which is called Warhorn, and that increases the magic stamina of nearby allies for a certain amount of seconds, and that could come in handy if you're starting to siege on a keep. Rapid maneuver lets you guys move faster, so if you're taking resources, getting from one resource to the other a lot faster gives your enemies less of a chance to be able to react. So it's things like that, and the passives are always super useful too. And same with the support. Support gives you a barrier to protect your siege weaponry. So if, you know, that's one more thing to help defend your attackers when you're trying to take down keep walls. Purge, for example, will get rid of negative status effects. So if you are already sieging on it, the enemies, being able to get rid of slows or stuns is going to be highly needed in order for you to be able to be successful in your assault. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to talk about what you can do if PvP isn't really your thing, but you still want to go to Cyrodiil and grab some of the sky shards, maybe finish up some achievements. You're definitely still going to have stuff to do here, even if you don't want to participate in the giant battles that go around the map. So, you might be asking yourself, what can I do other than get sky shards? Well, there's still Dahlims around. I don't remember how many there are in Cyrodiil exactly, but there are still some that you can take down, not only in your alliance's home locations, but also in the enemies. So if you're feeling adventurous, you can go in there and take those guys out. Obviously, that's going to go towards your achievement of destroying Dahlims and whatnot. You can also finish quests. There are 5 main cities around Cyrodiil that leads to an achievement. I forget what the achievement quest is called, but the cities that you want to go to are going to be Burma, Chendenhall, I think that's how you pronounce it, Chorrol, Cropsford, and Lascaris. God, I am terrible at pronunciation, so sorry if I butchered those names. But those are the 5 cities that you're going to want to visit and complete those quests to get your achievement for the Cyrodiil location. Not to mention, other than the sky shards, obviously there's still going to be plenty of dungeons to go into. And if you are trying to get the Dungeon Master, God, again, I don't remember what the achievement is called, but if you're trying to get that achievement done, you're going to need to go through all the dungeons around and defeat all the bosses in them. So there's still that to do as well. And, you know, don't forget that you can also do the Alliance quests at the starting gates. And those will still give you XP, they'll give you AP, obviously. But they're a pretty easy experience to gain while you're there. It's as easy as getting like a scouting report, which basically you just have to go to the location, write the report, and then head back, and that's it. You don't have to worry about doing much of anything else there. There are some that involve killing like a certain number of enemy, like 20 Dragonites or 20 Nightblades. But if you're not into wanting to do the PvP combat, I'd say just do the scouting reports. That's pretty simple stuff. I think that's about it, though. Just Dahlims, dungeons, sky shards, and some quests in the main cities here and there. That is all to do in Cyrodiil. I still say you should definitely check out the PvP aspects of it. I know it's not for everybody. Getting killed over and over is not fun. I totally understand. I was there at one point. That's when it's important to know how to build for Cyrodiil, because your build for PvE doesn't necessarily always work in PvP. But that is a video for another time. Builds are a whole other thing to tackle on their own, and it's different for every single type of player. You know, Dragon Knights are built differently, Nightblades, Archers, Sorcerers, and all that fun stuff. So, again, that is a video for another time. But if you're ever unsure of what to do in PvE, always ask around. in your guild, there's always going to be somebody that's willing to teach you. And if not, just go jump in yourself, get a feel for it. If it's not your thing, that's alright. Just go ahead and go do some of the other stuff that there is around, because there is still other stuff that maybe not as much as in PvE, but there's still a few activities that you can get done that don't involve fighting enemy players. Well guys, that is all I have for you today on Cyrodiil. If I missed anything, or if you have any further questions, never hesitate to ask me. I will try my best to answer with whatever I may know. But other than that, thanks you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.